And yeah, Garrison Keeler would say we're all above average.
Mhm.
And I don't have to worry about anyone saying something stupid and it being forever living online.
Someone, or is that someone you, or are you talking about somebody else? Sheena? No, Sheena would never say anything stupid. Okay.
No, but I could name a few if you want me to. I mean,
Yeah, probably not Ruth.
Yeah, we won't go there. Who's our speaker today anyway?
That'd be Mr. Brockman.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
Yeah.
Mike.
Me, Daryl.
Mr. How are you, Teak? Mr. Brockman volunteered to be a last-minute fill-in. Our
I did.
program
You know the
today.
motto. If somebody, yes, it's yes.
There you go. There you go. No, our speaker didn't pan out for today, so Mr. Brockman's going to give us kind of a state of the union for the Sedro Woolley School District. What's going on?
I've got the prayer today, Mike.
Perfect. Thanks, Teak.
Don't want anybody storming the district office though.
Oh, jeez. You're going to go down that road, huh?
That's just what we need, Daryl.
I just saw a news
In
story.
your houses.
I just saw a news story and they're identifying people, who participated. And this one guy actually had his work badge on.
Oh, I saw that. He's no longer working for that company now.
Can't imagine why.
Yeah,
The
right.
guy with the buffalo head ought to be fairly easy to
Yeah,
identify.
he was in quite a few pictures.
Yeah. Yeah, they got pictures of him at Trump rallies and all kinds of places, so they ought to be able to find him. Interesting times, that's all I'm going to say. So the user on here that says Dan's iPhone, is that Dan Hockett or is that Dan Sims? Anybody
I
know?
hope it's Dan Sims because that's who I've been writing down for attendance when it says Dan's phone.
Poor Dan Hockett.
Yeah, I'm pretty techie.
There you go. It is Dan Sims. We got it.
Yeah, got the right guy.
Good enough. So, Mr. Bricka, have you guys started immunizing yet, or are you still waiting for the next round?
We start next Wednesday. That's our first clinic for vaccines. Our company pharmacist will be up with an RV and they'll prepare the doses, and then we'll probably immunize over 100 people next Wednesday.
Very good.
Staff and residents.
Yes, staff and residents. And then we'll do it again 2 weeks from that. And then we'll have a third session for the wrap up of the people who had it for the first time on the second session. So it's,
Are you guys considered Group 1B or are you in the 1A group?
They've got to be 1A because we're not into 1B yet.
Yeah.
yeah, we're 1A,
But
definitely.
we've got a bunch of our nurses and our.
Hey, Daryl, that's part of my presentation.
Okay, I won't say that. Sorry.
Uh-oh.
Can't usurp the boss here.
Oh, boy. 1B group.
Chris,
will
we
just-
got it at the hospital.
And I'll just throw this out so everybody knows. Schaffner Pharmacy in Sedro Woolley and Maker's Pharmacy, Compounding Pharmacy in Mount Vernon are doing quick COVID tests if you need to get one and you need to know the results now.
Oh,
So it's out there. And you can get results at both places within like 15, 20 minutes on those tests.
great. And what are those again, Mike?
Good enough for the airplanes or
Yes.
whatever. you-
Yes, I believe so, Teak.
Mike, what are those places again?
Schaffner Pharmacy, right by the hospital, by United General. It's in the pavilion, Peace Health Pavilion. And then Maker's Compounding Pharmacy. Shelley's got a check doing them,
Great.
or pharmacist doing it, I guess.
Okay.
Shelley,
Yeah.
Both locally owned businesses as well.
There you go. So does anybody have anything that needs to be added to the agenda? It's a pretty light agenda. Let me know if you do.
I'd like to mention that my uncle Walt Janik on
I saw
Monday.
that, Paula.
And this is the last of my mother's brothers. He was her baby brother. It was pretty sad to read about. But if you read his story, it was quite an amazing story about what he did as a youth and how everything. So I do hope you all take a look at it. Uncle Walt used to be a Rotarian, I believe. Is that right, David?
I know Stanley was. I don't know if
Dan
Walt
was. I don't think Walt
I
ever
don't
was.
think Walt was.
Yeah.
But yeah, but his
No, you're-
family moved down to the the Bellevue area
Yeah.
years ago, and I've kind of missed him around here. But over at the beach on Samish Island, I always catch him in the summers. I
You're
won't
right,
miss him in the
Paula.
summer.
He was an interesting man. I spent a lot of time talking to him, grew up with his kids, and yeah, interesting guy.
You grew up with his kids? Which ones?
Well, Steve was a year,
Oh.
2 years younger than me, and then Annie was a couple of years older than me, and we just all kind of ran in the same circles.
So you were up there with the older two.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think Tommy actually graduated with my brother Tom. So yeah, there was connections through Boy Scouts and all kinds of things. So
Well, I just wanted to share that. So
yeah.
thank you.
Well, we'll give everybody a few more minutes and then we'll get started. So Chris Rothenbuehler, I see your chat. That's on the Rothenbuehler Engineering Facebook page, I assume. I know you can't talk to us, but you can write us a chat there. Cool. I'll have to check that out. Hockey Tutor Facebook page. So did everybody just stay home for New Year's Eve, or did somebody have something fun they did, unusual, that was properly social distance? I mean, just throw it out there. I know there was a fireworks display around Big Lake, but it was around the lake.
At 9 o'clock.
You went to bed at 9 o'clock. There you go, David. Nobody's willing to admit they did anything fun. Well, I'm with you, David. We stayed home.
I went to my
Didn't do
friend's
it, though.
house and I lost $20 to her 9-year-old daughter, so.
Well, I hate it when that happens. Kids beat up on you.
She's really good at 31. She knocks
Oh, 31.
right when she gets her cards dealt.
My kids came in and woke me up at midnight because I was asleep, and they wanted me to see the really bad Seattle needle, space
Yeah.
needle thing. And All I know is I was half asleep and the music had some sort of little like twang thing going on, and I was really confused. And then I went back to bed and was wondering if I imagined it, but
You sound like my wife. She was asleep on the couch, and I think Michael or somebody woke her up at just before midnight so she could have a glass of champagne, and she was watching that stuff on TV and going, what in the world? Then she went to bed. So.
I was tired.
Well, it is close enough to 12:15. Why don't we go ahead and get started? I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. Welcome to Sedro Woolley Rotary, the best Rotary Club in the universe. Today's invocation is by Teek Martin. If everybody would please rise.
Thank you, President Mike. I'll sit here, so part of it's on paper. Lord, thanks for the opportunity to be in Rotary today. It's great to see all my Rotary friends and participate in the service projects we get to and be a positive influence on our community. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. Grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to be a consoler, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Teek, and very appropriate considering everything that's going on right now in our country.
Well, I
please
should
join-
give a little credit to the peace prayer of St. Francis. So it wasn't all my idea, but I love this prayer.
Very appropriate. Please join me in the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the four-way test, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will be beneficial to all concerned? Mr. Brick, I believe you have a song or a poem or something
So
here.
I have got something we're going to read today. So I've got this book right here that was a gift to me by my mom and dad in 1975. So it's really old, like I'm really old. And this is a book, Civil War has been a powerful part. Abraham Lincoln is in his assassination. I've been a student of that. So the last page of this book is this right here. And I read this a few weeks ago. It's the second inaugural address of Abraham Lincoln, the last paragraph, which is very, very appropriate today. And this was given just shortly before his death. So this is Abraham Lincoln's second inaugural address, the last paragraph. With malice toward none, with charity for all, with firmness in the right, as God gives us to see the right, let us strive on to finish the work we are in, to bind up the nation's wounds, to care for him who shall have borne the battle, and for his widow and his orphan, to do all which may achieve and cherish a just and lasting peace among ourselves and with all nations. And scene.
Very nice. Thank you, David. Do we have any visitors out there? I'm looking for Rotarians or other visitors, and I personally am not seeing anybody. If you're visiting us today, please speak up. Really don't see anybody, so we'll just move right along. Moving on to club business. Rotary International, again, is providing information each week on the foundation. Today's foundation talk is about global grants, making sustainable change in the world. And they stated, Rotary clubs in Honduras and Pennsylvania, USA partnered together for a global grant to provide eye and vision care to needy residents in Honduras. During a 10-day-long mission, Rotarians from both clubs work to provide a wide variety of vision services through clinics held at local schools and neighborhoods. Over 1,200 individuals were evaluated and 600 received prescription eyeglasses. A local non-governmental organization will continue to provide eyeglasses and medications to those in need. Every Rotary Club has the opportunity to change lives around the world with the help of the Rotary Foundation, one project at a time. Now, Sedro Woolley Rotary does a very, very good job of utilizing district grants and global grants. Teak and Carl and the Martins have been on top of making sure we use that money every year that's available. So, but if you have ideas for things that we can apply for global grants, feel free to talk to me, feel free to talk to Carl, feel free to talk to Teak. So moving on, community center update. You guys all got my email last week. Demo on the bathroom should be starting this week or next week. We're moving ahead with that project. At this point in time, the city is handling all the demo work. Dan Hockett is in charge. He will be our liaison for that. If there is a work party, he will get it out there and we will get a limited number of people over there at some time. At some point, we're going to have some work to do. We're just not sure exactly when. I don't see any Mike or John or Stephanie on the call here anywhere. I was hoping for an update on Patrick's Playground, but doesn't. Mr. Massey, do you have any information on what's going on over there?
Not much. It's pretty muddy.
Yeah.
But we hope to start getting things rolling again here pretty soon. So.
Okay, perfect. Next week's speaker is Amelia Stansell. She's a lady who grew up in Acme, who lives on the East Coast now in Virginia, I believe, but she will be doing a program on human trafficking, and she's a fellow Rotarian. So look forward to that talk. Board meeting next Tuesday at 5:30. Board members will all get the link. If you would like to attend, please send me an email and I will get you the link. Everybody's welcome. Always love to have you there. Are there any other announcements? There's going to be a quick meeting today, guys. Okay, well, we're going to move on to Happy Bucks. Anybody happy? Somebody's got to be happy.
Mike, I'm happy.
Mr. Brockman's happy.
So in October, you know, my dad passed away. He's 93 years old. And in World War II, he served on as a merchant marine in the South Pacific and traveled all through the South Pacific. You know, those Liberty boats were shot out of the water quite often. So it's one of the highest fatality rates during the war were the merchant marines. His dream was to be recognized by the government, federal government, as a veteran, because merchant marines at that time were not recognized. And then back in the 90s, they changed that law. And so about 6 or 7 months ago, we put all the paperwork in and sent the paperwork in. And over the holiday, we got the certificate. So it's
really
cool. So
oh, that is very cool.
Happy 20.
Yeah, kind of gives you goosebumps. That's cool. Anybody else happy?
I got happy 20 for Travis this morning. I got a text from him about 10 o'clock or so, and he asked if I would be able to run the meeting for him because he had an elk down.
Oh.
I wasn't going to be able to make it. So happy $20 for Travis. I'll let him give you the details about size and everything when he gets back.
Congratulations, Travis. Meat in the freezer. Who else is happy? Well, I've got some happy. Well, I see David. Go ahead, David.
So on January 1st, New Year's Day, I started my 36th year of sobriety. And that's a pretty cool. And also today, January 7th, 4 years ago, we buried my beloved nephew, Brian Gurney, and death is a part of life. And we had a beautiful celebration honoring his memory, and he's forever in our hearts, and we'll remember him this summer with whatever iteration we have of the Gurney Tourney. So I'm very happy about his life and all he accomplished in his short 21 years.
Wonderful. Thank you, David. Anybody else? While you're thinking about it, I've got some happy bucks I'll throw in. I got to spend some time with my son and one of my daughters over the holidays. My Army lieutenant son was home for almost 3 weeks, which was absolutely wonderful. And then the week between Christmas and New Year's, we all got together, all the family in Reno, and we got to hang out with the granddaughter. So that was a wonderful thing. And then I'm also happy because I sent you all an email, and you probably saw it in the paper, that right before Christmas, I was able to take a check to the Helping Hands Food Bank for $40,000. Now, I need to give you guys kind of an update on that. That $40,000 was funneled through the Skagit Foundation, which is another local foundation that does wonderful work and donates to all kinds of different causes. But it looks like, and I had an email this morning from them, it looks like they're going to be able to match that $40,000. So that $40,000, the $25,000 that we raised was matched by $15,000, which is now going to be matched by another $40,000. So with any luck, it's going to be $80,000 going to the food bank. So I am absolutely thrilled with that. So, but I will say that if you have not donated to the food bank, or you do have extra money, please, the need is great. It's going to remain great for quite some time. Anybody else?
Sure. I got 21 happy bucks. We are listing our home for sale next week, so we're one step closer to moving up to Skagit.
You're actually going to be a Skagit Valley resident.
I will, yeah.
Great. That's great. So you're going to live in Sedro Woolley, right?
We're looking around Conway, around Lake 16. But...
Okay. Okay. That's fair. Nice area. Nice area. I just thought I'd throw out the plug for the hometown. Anybody else before we move on? Well, seeing nobody, we're going to move on to our program. And I'd like to introduce our own Mr. Phil Brockman, superintendent of the Sedro Woolley Schools, who's going to get an update of what's going on with the schools as far as reopening and COVID fighting and all that good stuff. Phil?
Okay, thanks, Mike. So I'll give a quick update. Questions at the end, because a lot of what I'm going to go through, you probably will have questions about some of those things. So just want to start off and tell you who we are, Sedro Woolley School District. These are all the schools that we have in place. So Good Beginnings Preschool, the 7 elementary, Central Evergreen, Marycell, Clear Lake, Big Lake, Salvation, Lyman, then the secondary with Cascade Middle, Sedro Woolley, State Street, and the Connections Academy. That's the partnership we have with Job Corps. So just to remind everybody who we are, and we have a little over 4,000 kids right now, and we're having some challenges, as you know, but I want to talk about some good things before we get into the challenges. So we have about 300 total students in our schools right now. Special needs, students with that need additional instructional support, social emotional students, OT, PT, kids. So in every one of our schools, we have kids there, and they make a positive impact on what's happening in our schools right now, and we're hoping to get more back in our schools soon. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. Before I get into challenges, though, I want to talk a little bit about a couple positive things that are happening. And Jada's on. I've asked her to talk a little bit about what she's doing with the Wellness Initiative, because that's one of the initiatives that continue to move forward. And it's a very positive partnership between the hospital and the county and us and the ESD. And it really is a good program for our community. So Jada, can you just say a quick couple of words about it?
Sure. Can you all hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So thank you for giving me a few minutes just to share. I was given the opportunity to serve as a co-coordinator for our Sedro Woolley Coalition, which is Sedro Woolley Rise, which stands for Rallying to Inspire Safe Environments. And we are one of 4 community coalitions here in Skagit County. So there's Sedro Woolley, Concrete, Mount Vernon, and now Burlington. We are funded by the Washington State through the Community Prevention and Wellness Initiative. Our mission is that we are a partnership of community members who come together to inspire and strengthen positive change and to build a healthy community for those kiddos. And we do this by supporting their health and growth and development with the hopes of building healthy, resilient adults. And I know all of us on here know how amazing Sedro Woolley is, because obviously we're the best Rotary Club in the universe. So therefore we're the most amazing community as well. And there truly are a lot of positive things happening around us. And I get to be part of a group, our coalition, that continues to grow and promote those positive things. So it's a lot of fun. We are partnering with different people, as Mr. Brockman indicated, but mainly the school district and the city. And we have a great youth prevention club at our high school who are just doing amazing things. They're involved in so many different aspects of building healthy habits, not only with themselves and their peers, but also now going to be reaching out to middle school and hopefully elementary. We have some great social emotional programs in our elementary schools. In fact, we have PAC's Good Behavior Game at all of our elementary schools, as well as our special education department at the high school. So we are just a group of people that come together, and we do a lot of training and professional development with our folks. We've done some work on anxiety and self-care and trauma resilience and response, facilitation. We've also been blessed to have Tim's involvement in our coalition, as we are hoping to help support the Rotary Mentor Program in the future. And so if you guys are interested and want to join us, we would love to have you. The more the merrier. We try to have a lot of fun at our meetings, so come out and join us on the second Tuesday of each month. The meetings are from 3 to 5, and right now we're meeting virtually. And let me know if you want to get involved, and if you have any interest in following us on Facebook. We do have a Facebook page at Sedro Woolley Rise.
Jada, thank you. And I wanted to get your plug in there, because I think it's a really positive thing that we're doing. And it actually was born out of opioids, addictions, and mental health and awareness and all of that. So it's really a good program for us. I just wanted to highlight that. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
So some challenges that we see. So I wanted to talk a little bit about budget, transportation, and enrollment. Our enrollment is down about 7%, about 300 kids this year. And all of you know that our budget for the school district is based on student attendance, student enrollment. So we took a hit there. The other part of our budget, we have 5 different budgets within the school district. And transportation is one of our big ones. We have about 40 buses. We have about 20 of them rolling right now, moving students around. But our transportation budget is based on previous years and semesters ridership. And because we're not in school, completely in school right now, and because of last spring, transportation budget has become a conversation with our state legislators. We're trying to hold ourselves harmless around budget, because when we do open school, we need to have those dollars to transport kids. So between the two, transportation and enrollment, we're down a couple $1 million within our $75 million budget. And so those are things that challenges. Now we're able to absorb that, and we've had some COVID relief dollars around that, but it is something that concerns us. The other piece, challenges around staffing, going remote and hybrid. I'm talking about teachers and our paraprofessionals now, is that we're all hybrid right now, except for those small groups that we have in our schools. But to go hybrid, we have teachers that cannot teach because it has some underlying condition. So which means that creates a staffing problem for us. So, and I'll give you an example. When we went pre-K2 earlier in October, November, we had to hire 3 new teachers to make that happen. And when you do that, then that takes another hit to the budget to make it all work. So that's just an issue that we have as we move forward into opening schools, and hopefully we'll be opening schools again and phasing students in the next few weeks. But those are issues that that we have to deal with. The other issue around staffing, excuse me, is that if a student or a teacher is exposed in some way, we have to isolate and they have to go leave school. And sometimes that creates an issue around substitutes and staffing and what we can do. So we're juggling that. Daryl's online here, and he's been doing a great job helping us work through that, but staffing is an issue for us. The safety procedures, we are ready to bring kids back into school. We are required to have PPEs, the social distancing, the attestations, the hygiene aspects. We have those protocols in place. And we proved that we could actually have kids in school and have those procedures working for us. In relation to transportation and food service and some other areas where we have staff, we don't have work for a lot of these employees. So we chose to furlough. And at one time we had over 100 of our staff furloughed. And we're slowly bringing them back, but we chose furlough as opposed to laying them off, because then we could retain benefit package for them, and we could call them back when we need it. So it's fluid, come in and out and as we need. So those are some of the challenges that we have right now. Technology, you can see we've handed out over 2,500 Chromebooks to our students. Hotspots, almost 600 hotspots out there. Connectivity is an issue. Food services, we're still providing food and service to our students, about 7,000 meals a week at this time. And then we did get some good news yesterday and today. We've been talking about athletics and activities all year long. When can we get them back into school? Can we have any kind of a sports season or athletic season? And it's been pushed back to date all year. So with the new metrics that the governor came out with, and our WIAA is now landing on where we can go with athletics, and it looks like we're going to have some seasons. So starting February 1st, and if we're in phase 2, the whole goal for WIAA is to have something for everyone. So we're looking at February 1st starting our fall season, cross country, football, volleyball, in winter, basketball, swim and dive, and then baseball, softball, track, soccer, tennis later on. So, and we're very hopeful with these new metrics that we're going to be able to get our kids out there to play some ball, and swim, wrestle. One of the issues that we have is there's not going to be any kind of a state championship. So this will be more or less league play, rival play, but it's something for our kids. And so we're hopeful that we're going to be able to pull this off. Reopening guidance. So we have new guidance that came out on December 16th. And so if you look at this educational modality area here, we've got high, moderate, and low. So these are guidance to help us bring students back into school. So 350 and above, it talks about phasing in person learning with 15 or fewer students. We're looking at K5, we're in a K6 elementary model. So we're looking at that. And then bringing in middle and high school. And so right now we're working with our teachers union and associating with them to bring our students back. Remember, these are changes in working conditions. And when you work with unions and within your organization, it opens up bargaining. And we have to sit down and talk with them about and agree to how we do that. So, but this was very good news for us that the governor came out with, and I have to say that Superintendent Reichel has been a champion for schools and been trying to get us all open and doing more for our kids. The vaccine rollout, we did get some good news this week as well. So we, educational employees, are in phase 1B. And today and tomorrow, our nurses and some other staff are actually getting vaccinated now. And as my hope is, as the vaccine becomes more available, we'll be able to get more of our staff and teachers vaccinated, which would speed up maybe getting school back sooner than later. So we're hopeful there, and we have volunteered to open our schools up, gymnasiums, auditoriums, to help with that vaccination process. Remember, when you do get vaccinated, there's a 15 to 30-minute wait period to observe to make sure that the vaccinator or E is going to be okay. So this was good news for us, and I'm hoping that this rollout is a little quicker than not. So back to school. So the decision to resume school or expand in-person learning is pretty complex. I mentioned a little bit about the safety protocols and procedures. When we start looking at putting students in the classes, we also have parents that want their kids to come in person and others that do not. So then now we have to make that schedule work. We're looking at all the recommendations around the metrics and protocols, and also working with our different associations and unions to come in agreement to make all of that work. So the good news is that we have metrics that will allow us to come back into school. The hard part is agreeing and to make it all happen sooner than later. So, and it's all based on numbers. So here's our current COVID numbers. If you look at that, yesterday we had 16 new cases for the county, and we were using county data and for us to make decisions. And then we'll also look at where we are in terms of total numbers. So right now we have 370.3 per 100,000 diagnosed and confirmed with COVID. The other metric that we look at is this percent of positive metric, 11.1%. That's based on the number of people that are vaccinated. So these are the two numbers that we're really looking at as we decide to bring kids back into school. So what's next? I mentioned a little bit about working with our teachers union, back to work conditions. We have small pods of students, about 300 total. We'll get, when we do come back, we're looking at a hybrid model, an AABB model, which means having groups of students in group A and another group in group B. And so Monday, Tuesday would be group A. Wednesday would be more of a check-in, asynchronous learning model, office hours, study halls, those types of things. And then the BB group would come in Thursday and Friday. And remember, we have to have less than 15. So it's not full-time school. We can't bring all the schools in because our rooms just aren't big enough for the social distancing. We have to have that 6-foot distance apart. So and that's pretty much what I brought in today. And I want to just give a quick update of where we're at and some of the challenges. And I'm on meetings every week with other superintendents and state superintendent and everybody else. We're all struggling with the same thing of where we go next and what we do with our kids. Some of the other things that I didn't talk about, challenges that we have is around the high school. Across the board, students are struggling. We have a lot of students that are doing really well, but many students are struggling. Grades are down, attendance is down, and that's across the board. And it's actually, we're trying to deal with that as well. So I do want to say we do have a great board that is helping us guide us through this. They are not afraid to tell us what they think, which I really appreciate. And that helps us move forward in what we do in supporting our kids and community. So, questions?
Somebody must have a question out there.
Either I did a really good job of explaining it or you're dumbfounded.
We're going to go with great job.
Yeah.
Well, if there are no questions, thank you, Phil. That was enlightening. I do know, I'm dealing with the kids here at the center, and these kids need to go back to school. There's no question. It's not in their best interest to be here.
We're really worried about the social emotional aspect of it right now. Yeah, grades and academics are important. We need to get them, continue working at that. But we have a lot of students that are just hurting right now socially, and trying to get these students back into school is our top priority right now.
Good. Okay, well, just a couple of reminders. Board meeting next Tuesday at 5:30. Next week's speaker is Amelia Stansel, who will be talking about human trafficking. She's a Rotarian and grew up in Acme, so it'll be interesting to hear from her. So is there anything else that we need to bring forward before we close this meeting, before I give my thought for the day? Speak now or forever hold your peace, or whatever that line is. Well, we all have been watching the news the last couple of days, I'm sure, and I think we can all agree that this is not a really great time for our nation. This is kind of a stain on who we are and what we all expect. And I don't care how you think politically, it's been a rough couple of days. So, normally I try to give you a thought that's kind of thought-provoking and kind of is applicable to what's going on in the world. But today I thought I'd go a little more lighthearted, something that seemed a little more appropriate given everything that's going on. So something to think about. Technically, if you don't cut a cake and just eat the whole thing with a fork, you still only had one piece. Something to think about. So I'm calling this meeting to a close. You guys have a great weekend. I will see you next week. Stay healthy and be safe. Bye.